The year was 2013. The 3DS was flying high on the success of Fire Emblem Awakening, and a whole new generation was being introduced to Shin Megami Tensei thanks to the fourth entry, the first numbered entry to ever come out in nearly a decade. Suddenly, a mysterious trailer sparks from the depths of the internet. Simply titled Wii U Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem Trailer. Now, this trailer showed very little. Just a lot of the characters' artwork from previous entries all together. But our imaginations did the rest. Shin Megami Tensei, a series with over 300 demons to negotiate, collect, and summon, mixed in with Fire Emblem's combat. You could have literal armies of demons fighting, just like the ending of Nocturne and Devil Survivor hyped up. And think about the gameplay possibilities. I mean, would the weapons triangle be supported, but this time using Shin Megami Tensei's element exploiting mechanics? Having a unit of fire people going up against ice wielders, a whole bunch of Jack Frost up against Pyro Jacks and Dins and Jins and all this crazy shit. Like Fire Emblem games of the past, would prior Megami Tensei characters make an appearance? Would we see the Demi-Fiend leading the army he had at the end of Nocturne, fending off against Robin and Crom's party? I mean, the possibilities were just endless. But again, all we had was this little trailer, and it kind of sunk into the back of my mind. Many a sleepless night was spent going over the scenarios for the game in my head. The epic battle, the fusion mechanics, the story of a medieval war-torn society of Fire Emblem, mixing with Tokyo's nuclear apocalypse. Future and past mingled in the potential that was there. And the thing was, this type of concept had been done before in the Devil Survivor series. That kind of had a strategy turn-based mechanic, except when you went into the battles, you got into a traditional Megami Tensei combat system. And these games, although very promising and very entertaining, certainly didn't have the armies that we were anticipating from Fire Emblem. Now, Fire Emblem, you could have 40 characters all going to battle, just blocking off exits, strategically putting them in halls. And Devil Survivor, you had really 3 party members with 2 demons each. So it certainly wasn't what we were hoping for. A very good game, but not with the armies and legions of demons that we were expecting. What's that, internet? Has a really good trailer featuring gameplay finally been released of this dark clash between Shin Megami Tensei and Fiya Emblem? Well, let's take a look. My dream! What did you do to my dream of this dark, gritty game? This is poppy. This is lighthearted. Is it some sort of joke? I mean, it was posted on April 1st, so I think you knew what you were doing. And high school? Why did you pick high school for this setting? What part of these games made you think that the setting should be high school? There's no high school in Fire Emblem or Shin Megami Tensei. I mean, I guess 1 and Nocturne both feature high schools for about 5 minutes before everyone gets hit with nukes. And I mean, look at the tone of the game. It's lighthearted, it's pop, and the art style's bright and vibrant. Neither of the games are really nice like that. I mean, Megami Tensei speaks for itself. And then Fire Emblem frequently has characters die. And even Awakening, which is fairly lighthearted in tone, has things like Robin being the reincarnation of an evil dragon that's going to cause the apocalypse. I mean, it's not the darkest thing in the world, but it's not exactly this bright pop game. And isn't this supposed to be a Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover? Because I'm not seeing a whole lot of representation of traditional Megami Tensei in this game at all. I can see it a little bit in the designs for the demons and for the enemies, but that's about it. And looking at these designs, they seem more reminiscent of something you would see in, say, the Persona series than what I would expect from traditional Megami Tensei. There aren't any Megami Tensei demons in the game as far as I know, except for Jack Frost and a little cameo. So you may think that after watching that horrible trailer that I just gave right up on this game. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I crept through the months, watching trailer after trailer, trying to confirm that it wasn't all just some sick April Fool's joke like the date of the release of the trailer suggested. And the more I watched, the more I realized this wasn't going to go away. And also, the more I watched, the more guilty I felt for actually wanting to play this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, it seems like they really went way out of the way when it came down to what we were expecting and what the game should have been. But at the end of the day, Atlus can do no wrong when it comes to video games. And Shin Megami Tensei has a really solid battle system. And Nintendo very rarely pumps out any games that aren't exceptionally good in terms of quality. So I actually did buy this game right on launch day. And I can tell you, it was terrifying. With no English voice track, I had to be very specific about when I played, hiding in my room so that my dad didn't beat me for being such a fucking weeb. So what do I think? Was this a bad crossover? Was it a good crossover? Well, it may not have been an ideal crossover. However, the one thing that this game has that it really does well is that it has a sense of identity. And that identity may not match well with Megami Tensei or with Fire Emblem, but it's definitely an identity that's all its own. The pop aesthetic and the idea that you're working your way up in an industry is prevalent throughout the entire game, and I think they did a very excellent job with this. At the end of the day, although Tokyo Mirage Sessions was not the gritty and dark Shin Megami Tensei crossover that I wanted, it's undeniable that it's still a very, very good game. It took what it wanted to be, and it rolled with it. It did not want to be the dark armies fighting that I wanted. It wanted to be a cute anime pop game. And in that, it succeeded tremendously. Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE succeeds in being what it wants to be. And in that, I think it's very good. And if you, like me, were turned off by its initial portrayal as this bright anime game and were expecting something a little more gritty, I'd say give it a second shot. It's a very good game, and I'm going to be really happy to have it on my Nintendo Switch, where I don't have to worry about anyone in my family judging me for enjoying this Japanese guilty pleasure of mine. Thank you. Signing off.